Hello and welcome to another update video about Bitcoin. We take a look at the shorter time frame. Bitcoin is quiet today. Altcoins also rather quiet. Yesterday evening was quite interesting, but still overall positive, I think, in the altcoin sector, and also especially Ethereum currently outperforming Bitcoin again. While Bitcoin is just moving sideways, pretty much in line with what I highlighted in the previous video, that it would be quite favorable for altcoins, also for Ether, if Bitcoin continues to consolidate in a bullish way. But we're going to take a look at the microstructure and the potentials there. Overall, looking at the big picture, I mean, I call this bigger picture, really. It's also the 30-minute chart, but nothing has changed here. So we're going to zoom in and take a look at the detailed wave count in a minute. Before we do that, just here on the 1 hour chart, let's talk about the two potentials before we dive into the microstructure, before we take out the magnifying glass. Please be aware that in the previous video today, I also took a look at the daily chart. So if you're interested in the daily chart in the larger context, which is very important for Elliott Wave analysis and trading, then feel free to check that video out. You'll find it on the channel. But yeah, let's just take a look here at the 1 hour chart in this video. By the way, the US stock market is closed today, so we just don't see that action today that we sometimes see, which might be a bit of a, sometimes we get the US stock market as a little bit of a catalyst, but overall, broadly speaking, Bitcoin has decoupled quite a bit from the stock market a while ago already. So let's take a look at the structure here. It's still focusing primarily on the white wave count. In the white wave count, the assumption is that here on the 23rd of January, a fourth wave pullback completed in our trend reversal or trading area. We saw that inverse head and shoulders pattern. In addition to that, had a breakout point here, and you see where it took us. So really good for either, that was actually great, really good for either pullback traders or breakout traders. Really good setups, those two were. Then we've seen that rally, which was quite substantial over recent weeks. Obviously, it started on the 23rd of January. Looking at the levels. Oops, what did I do? Okay, looking at the levels. It's important to, I think, recognize that there is a key support level here at 47K. So in this white count, after the wave 4 bottomed, we're obviously now in the fifth wave, and the structure is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The wave 3 could still be unfolding, and it might take us to 54, 55K, possibly 58K in wave 5 eventually. But there is a level that, if broken, will likely indicate that this white count is not going to unfold as planned. And that level, if broken to the downside, is 47K. It basically is a warning. Okay, so if that level is broken, it tells us that we are likely going to see the move down into the yellow support zone again. That would, yes, change things here on the 1 hour chart. It would not change things on the daily chart. The daily chart analysis time frame scenarios would remain the same, because then we would simply say the overall assumption remains the same. We're in this white wave count. It's just that the wave 4 never finished. And all of this was just part of the larger correction that started here on the 11th of January. Instead of just being this, the correction extended a bit, which can always happen in a wave 4 especially. But as long as we're holding above 47K, I'm leaning bullish. Now let's take a look at this nano structure or microstructure. Here also we have a primary scenario and an alternative, even though here I would say probabilities are really balanced on these smaller time frames, especially within a correction. The probabilities are very balanced. Why is that? Well, if we are dealing with an impulse to the upside, a trending move, there is really only one structure of an impulse in Elliott Wave. Okay, there's only one way how an impulse can develop. The question when we're dealing with an impulse is always, do we get an extension or is it over? Okay, or how many extensions do we get? Typically, extensions are very common in crypto, so they basically get longer than what would be normal. All right. So, but in a correction, there are more than 10 corrective patterns in Elliott Wave that could unfold. So there are triangles, there are flat structures, zigzags, WXY, WXYXZ, And then within these, you also have subwaves and whatever, you know. Don't wanna make it more complicated than it already is. The bottom line is, as long as the 47K level is holding, the focus is on higher prices. Now, that doesn't mean we have to go down into the box. It would be ideal, but we don't have to. So therefore, my preferred scenario is that this was an A wave, this move up was a B wave, and the move down as a C wave can take us down to the support zone. And the support zone starts at 50K. It's the 23.6 Fibonacci retracement level. And then we also have support at 48.3K, which is the 38.2 retracement. To get there, however, we need some confirmations. So we need a first confirmation. That would be a break below 51K. Yeah, that is the 78.6 retracement level of this rally. A break below that level would indicate weakness and suggest we're going down into that orange support area. So you can use that as a first trigger level, but it would need to be confirmed with a sustained break below 50,650. Then we have an A, B, C structure. However, it could easily unfold as a triangle, which I highlighted before, but to have a triangle, we need a higher low now and a lower high and another higher low. So after the next higher low, we could start to explore a triangle. It's also possible, as an alternative perspective or scenario, that we already had a 5-wave move to the upside here. And we call that already in the next move up a wave 1 in 5 waves and a wave 2, which is why I provided a support area here earlier today. This, however, is a support area where I say, you know, it's not a great setup because the initial 5-wave move to the upside, it's not clear. It's not great in terms of proportions and Fibonacci extensions. So, I mean, you can trade that orange box there between 51K and 51,565, but it's not a great trade setup. It's more about, yeah, okay, there is a potential the market finds support there, but it's not, you know, an area where I say we have, you know, it's not a high confidence scenario. It would only be the alternative, but still possible. I mean, beware, there could be definitely the potential for a bounce. We've got an ascending trend line here anyway, and these fib levels, so it might very well be that it's, even if it's just doing this, whatever, you know. But anyway, that's sort of what I'm watching at the moment. 47K remains the key level, smaller or nano support at 51K, and then 50,650. But for now, it seems like, especially after the break of the ascending wedge, that we're heading down a little bit. We already talked about that in the previous video, that we have an ascending wedge. These tend to break to the downside. Doesn't have to be bearish. Could simply be a corrective pullback after this first 5-wave move up, or it could just be the start of the C wave. So we just need to be a little bit open with regards to the exact microstructure that's unfolding. But I think the support levels are clearly defined. And if we get a sustained break above the 52,830 level here, this previous swing high, well, that would be a suggestion or indication that we're already on the move here to the upside for the next move up in wave 5 of 3. That's my update about Bitcoin. Hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Also, make sure that you follow us on Instagram and Twitter for additional content. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.